Yao Changdong's body suddenly froze. With a loud bang, his chest exploded. He was hurled backwards and landed 10 zhang away, just as the butterfly wings flapped once more. A flash of killing intent gleamed in Yao Changdong's eyes. In the instant the butterfly wings moved, he slapped his storage pouch and pulled out another paper talisman, not to throw it, but to press it directly to the center of his brow. Instantly, a surge of dense rune power erupted from the paper talisman, engulfing his body. In a blink, massive waves of runes began to materialize in the starry sky surrounding him. Boom, boom, echoed with each flap of the butterfly wings, as the runes around Yao Changdong's body collapsed in swathes. But he surged forward regardless, closing in once again on Wang Lin. I must kill Sumu. He's only at the young fulfillment stage, and already this powerful. If he reaches the glimpse of nirvana, I won't stand a chance. Wang Lin sat cross-legged atop Pagoda Mountain's left hand. The mountain retreated steadily, trying to put distance between him and Yao Changdong, but the latter was far too fast. In the blink of an eye, with deafening crashes, he was already closing in. The killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes faded, replaced with perfect calm. He shut his eyes and softly murmured, "My Tao begins with the cycle of life and death and ends in causality. In this world, one may flee from the cycle, but never from causality. There exists a power that requires no primordial energy to wield. It is neither a divine ability nor a magic treasure. It is the Tao one cultivates throughout a lifetime. Or rather, it is a belief, an awakening." Everything Wang Lin had comprehended in his 1,000 years of cultivation, that was his conceptual realm. And now, in this moment of life and death, Wang Lin unleashed the path he had long since mastered, his Tao of conceptual realm. A battle of conceptual realms is a battle of Taoist arts. Within Taoist arts lies infinite variation. There is no victory or defeat, only life or death. Wang Lin spread his hands calmly and spoke, "In my left hand lies the cause of all things. In my right, the result of the heavens. This is causality. This is my Tao." He opened his eyes. In his left eye shone the sun, in his right eye, the moon. Staring at Yao Changdong, he raised his left hand and pointed. Cause emerges. In that moment, conceptual realm enveloped him. The starry sky vanished. All things dissolved. Yao Changdong's figure came to a halt. He had to stop. In his eyes, Wang Lin's figure had grown impossibly vast. Especially those hands. Within them seemed to form a translucent, illusory whip, joined at the head and tail to form a ring. That ring was causality. Yao Changdong felt a powerful certainty. If he took even one more step, he would fall into the other's conceptual realm. Even if he managed to kill his opponent, he himself would become lost in that profound Tao illusion, forever trapped in causality, unable to awaken for eternity. A battle of Tao realms could only be answered by a Tao realm. Yet those who could truly manifest their own Tao completely were exceedingly rare. It had nothing to do with cultivation level. It was about comprehension of the world, of life, of one's own Tao. Yao Changdong had never imagined that Sumu could unleash a Tao realm. His expression darkened, but he didn't retreat. Instead, he sat cross-legged, just 3 zhang away from Wang Lin, and closed his eyes. A golden phantom emerged above his head. The golden figure radiated immortal grace, Taoist bones, and was suffused with immortal aura. It was clearly an immortal. Struggling in your final moments? Then witness the Tao of the Yao clan. We are descendants of immortals. Our bloodline reaches back to the immortal realm itself. Though immortals do not cultivate conceptual realms, we descendants walk with honor as our realm. The glory of our ancestors is the very Tao of the Yao clan. Above Yao Changdong, the immortal phantom grew more defined. Then, it separated from him, took a step forward, and strode into Wang Lin's ring of causality. My clan reveres ancestral glory. No conceptual realm in existence can withstand it. Yao Changdong's face radiated fanatical reverence. As his fervor deepened, the illusory immortal solidified further. Glory of the past, how does it measure up today? All things in this world are subject to causality. That cause is the immortal's glory, Wang Lin said calmly, lowering his left hand and raising his right. In this effect is the collapse of the immortal realm. He gently closed his right hand and said evenly, "Those of glory, do they still live? Can your Tao escape causality?" At that instant, the circle of causality around Wang Lin began to spin, transforming into a vortex. The outer edge held the cause, the core, the effect. Immortals fell and could not escape the path of the heavens and causality. Their descendants are no different. Your Tao realm, pathetic. 1,000 immortal arts, what of them? Glory as a Tao realm? Laughable. Wang Lin shook his head. He had seen through the others' doubt using glory, a mere illusion, as a path, relying on blind reverence as a conceptual realm. Even at its peak, it could not break free of his ancestor's shadow. The circle of causality suddenly flew forth, racing toward the phantom of the immortal. As it neared, it came to a sudden halt. An immortal who does not cultivate the conceptual realm, relying solely on their immortal power to forcibly open the strength of heaven and earth, is making a grave mistake. Otherwise, how could the immortal realm have collapsed? Even with the might of an immortal emperor, if they do not cultivate the Dao realm, they will still end up pointing to the sky in madness and death. How is your ancestor any better than the immortal emperor? The immortal emperor's failure to cultivate the Dao was the cause, and his madness and death were the result. Your family's immortals are not of the same rank as the immortal emperor, your cultivation is not on par, and your divine powers are far inferior. If you do not cultivate the Dao, forcibly harnessing the strength of heaven and earth, under the Dao of heaven, the destruction of your ancestors is a consequence of causality. The glory you speak of, in my eyes, is nothing but an illusion. The people have already been destroyed by the heavens, so where does this so-called glory come from? Yao Changdong, the concept you cultivate and the Dao you uphold are all but empty. Your ancestors are dead, yet you do not seek to resist, instead clinging to this illusion of glory, cultivating the concept of glory. Not only is your cultivation in vain, but even your Yao family's ancestors are nothing but a phantom. In the end, your Yao clan will surely perish. Yao Changdong's eyes widened in rage, a mouthful of fresh blood spilling out as his mind was grievously wounded. Wang Lin's words were like sharp swords, stabbing into his heart, leaving him with no way to refute. After hearing these words, he even felt a faint hesitation deep inside. The immortal phantom outside the circle of causality began to blur, as if it could dissipate at any moment. You arrogantly uphold glory as your Dao, as your concept, but that glory is merely an illusion born from your own delusion. Have you ever truly seen the glory of your ancestors? Have you ever truly felt it? Such empty thoughts. This glory is void. You have reached the early glimpse of nirvana stage, yet your Dao concept lacks any real personal understanding. Everything is born from illusions. How can you possibly oppose me? My Dao concept has been shaped by the trials of life, the pain of family separation, the hatred of bloodthirsty slaughter, the grief of losing a loved one, the sorrow of a lost child, the enlightenment of the cycle of life and death, the realization of the world's true nature. Though one must eventually return to the source, it is through defying the heavens and breaking free of fate's control that one achieves the Dao of life and death. I have also experienced a shift in my concept, gaining insight into the realm of causality. But your Dao concept is nothing but an illusion of glory, a glory that perished with your ancestors, that collapsed with the immortal realm, all of it vanished into smoke. Yao Changdong, you are gravely mistaken. Yao Changdong staggered, spitting out another mouthful of blood, his face deathly pale, his eyes dimming. He seemed like a corpse, his entire being full of confusion. The immortal phantom outside the circle of causality became even more indistinct. Your Yao clan killed me, and that was the cause, while your Dao concept being shattered by my causality is the result. Your glory Dao concept, under the weight of causality, will not survive. Wang Lin roared, his eyes glowing with a strange light. Yao Changdong's body trembled, and the immortal phantom above him completely shattered. As the phantom collapsed, everything around him returned to normal, the starry sky reappearing. Everything seemed to pass in the blink of an eye, as if 10,000 years had passed. Wang Lin's causality Dao concept also dissipated. The half-paper talisman on his brow shattered with the battle of concepts. His primordial energy surged, and in an instant, he leapt forward. At this moment, a butterfly beside him gently flapped its wings, and Yao Changdong's body exploded with a loud crack, turning into a mass of blood and flesh. Even his storage pouch disintegrated under the power of the rule destruction. He no longer left a trace in this world. As Wang Lin's primordial energy recovered, he became pale, spitting out a mouthful of blood. The battle of Dao concepts had been too perilous. He had been unwilling to use it unless absolutely necessary. The glory Dao concept was not as fragile as he had initially claimed. It was more that Yao Changdong's Dao heart was unstable, like a flower grown in a greenhouse, unable to withstand the true trials of the storm. In contrast, cultivators of similar levels from the Alliance Star Domain were far stronger than those from the Luotian Star Domain. After all, in the Alliance Star Domain, everything relied on oneself. What good is the sect? It can't protect you. At any moment, one wrong move, and you could die. In a world where the strong prey on the weak, slaughter is the law of nature. The cultivators of the Luotian Star Domain, aside from a few, cannot even imagine the darkness of the Alliance star domain. If they were placed in the Alliance star domain, these people would have a hard time surviving, unless their cultivation was so high that they would scorn all rules. Taking a deep breath, Wang Lin put away his magic treasures. Pagoda Mountain faded into a shadow, merging into his body. Though his body was weak, Wang Lin's eyes burned with an even more intense killing intent. Yao family, if you wish to kill me, Wang Lin, you will pay the price. With a sharp, cold light in his gaze, Wang Lin took a step forward, the ripple spreading out as he merged with the heavens and earth, disappearing without a trace. However, just as he vanished, a ripple appeared in the nearby starry sky. A cold woman in white stepped out. Her beauty was extraordinary, especially with the cold expression on her face, which made anyone who gazed upon her hesitate and retreat, but at the same time, their hearts would race. The woman slightly furrowed her brows. In a single step, her figure vanished, blending into the void, and she chased after the direction where Wang Lin had fled. At this moment, within the eastern region of Luotian, on a blood-red planet, there stood a massive ancestral hall. A sharp, murderous, Yao character was carved into a towering Tinjiang high tree beside the hall. Inside the ancestral hall, an elder sat cross-legged. His eyebrows drooped, forming a reddish curve. Behind him were numerous spirit tablets, each emanating a dense aura of primordial energy. At that moment, the spirit tablet at the very bottom cracked open with a sharp snap, splitting into two. The elder slowly opened his eyes, glancing at the shattered tablet. Muttering to himself, he said, "Another one has finally died." Wang Lin from the Alliance star domain. "Old man, I want to see how many you can kill. Don't disappoint me, blood god." A sinister gleam flickered in his eyes. He raised his right hand, and with a single finger, a wisp of white gas floated out from the broken tablet. The elder gathered it with his profound skill and tucked it into his sleeve. "Continue killing." Wang Lin truly deserves his reputation as a real second-step cultivator of the Glimpse of Nirvana stage. I am still far behind him, but once I reach the Glimpse of Nirvana stage, killing this person will certainly not be as difficult as it is now, Wang Lin thought, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. He could not remain integrated with the world for too long. After appearing, he sped forward, and moments later, without hesitation, he fused back into the world, disappearing once more. I need to find a place to heal. After my injuries are healed, I'll return to seek the Yao family's misfortune. The moment Wang Lin vanished, ripples spread through the starry sky. The cold, stunning woman emerged. She frowned slightly, glancing at the empty space where Wang Lin had vanished. She murmured, twice in a row, using the shrinking earth technique. Sumu's control over the power of heaven and earth is truly strong. If any cultivator familiar with the Yao family were present, they would instantly recognize the woman's identity. Her name was Yao Bingyun, and she was revered as one of the three phoenixes in the eastern region of Luotian. The frost phoenix Yao Bingyun, among the third generation of the Yao family, ranked in the top 3 in terms of cultivation. She was incredibly cold and rarely spoke even to her own family members. Her talent in the Yao family was not exceptional, but she was certainly above average. However, her pursuit of the Dao was beyond imagination. After her breakthrough, she began to practice the family's closed immortal art. This immortal art sealed the divine sense through 7 orifices, rendering the eyes blind, the mouth mute, the ears deaf, and the nose speechless. It was one of the Yao family's 3 forbidden arts, and few could calm themselves enough to practice it. The key reason why it was considered forbidden was that if the practitioner was not careful, they would become permanently locked within their own divine sense and die. Throughout the Yao family's history, there had been casualties from this technique, and gradually, fewer and fewer people practiced it. Yao Bingyun spent 500 years in seclusion on one of the Yao family's forbidden planets, the Frozen Star. After emerging from her retreat, she became even colder, as if 1,000 years of ice had settled within her. Wherever she went, a chill followed. This woman was single-minded in her pursuit of the Dao, her willpower being unimaginable. Among the third generation of the Yao family, only 2 individuals had comprehended the shrinking earth technique, and Yao Bingyun was one of them. Moreover, she had the deepest understanding of this technique. Retracting her gaze, Yao Bingyun took a step forward, her cold expression unwavering as she continued her pursuit. This chase lasted for 10 days. Wang Lin gradually sensed that something was off and became even more cautious. Over the course of those 10 days, Yao Bingyun relentlessly pursued him. Under normal circumstances, her personality would not have allowed her to get involved in the matter of the Sky Vault decree. Given the choice, she would have preferred to remain in seclusion, contemplating the Tao. However, the Yao family's elder, Blood God, had announced that whoever personally killed Su Mu would have the entire Yao family's power at their disposal to fulfill one request. This was the reason Yao Bingyun had decided to take action. "Little sister, I must save you." Yao Bingyun pursed her lips, her figure vanishing into the void, blending with the world as she continued her pursuit. In the 10 days that followed, news of Su Mu's appearance quickly spread across the Luotian star domain. Particularly shocking was the fact that a joint group of 28 cultivators from several families had attempted to intercept him, only for Su Mu to kill 26 of them, leaving just 2 survivors. This event sent shockwaves throughout the cultivation world, reigniting memories of Su Mu's past actions in the Thunder Immortal realm. What shocked people even more was that among the 28, there were 3 Yang fulfillment cultivators, 9 Yin deficiency cultivators, and 16 at the peak of the Dao-seeking stage. Despite such a formidable lineup, Su Mu easily slaughtered them all. Even the 2 survivors, one of whom returned to their cultivation star, immediately declared that their family and cultivation star would no longer involve themselves in the matters between Su Mu and the Yao family. The other survivor, a Yang fulfillment cultivator, was in a more tragic state. His essence spirit was damaged, and after returning to his family, he went into seclusion and issued a similar declaration, swearing never to participate in this matter again. This series of events thoroughly awakened the name Su Mu in the memories of the cultivators of the Luotian star domain. Almost at the same time, the news of Yao Changdong, a third-generation member of the Yao family in the early glimpse of Nirvana stage, being killed by Su Mu spread like a storm across the Luotian star domain after being leaked by an unknown source. Under the decree of the Yao family's Sky Vault decree, those sent to hunt him were instead killed. This not only shocked all the cultivators, but also etched the name Su Mu even deeper in their minds. Similarly, the Yao family's reaction was swift. Numerous clan members and affiliated cultivation families gathered toward the western Luotian region. The number of these people was so large that they formed a near impenetrable blockade, continuously closing in and tightening the encirclement. At this moment, Wang Lin remained extremely cautious, constantly merging with the world around him. However, he avoided large-scale teleportation, instead trying to shake off the pursuer who could also blend into the surroundings. Although Wang Lin had never seen the pursuer, the bone-chilling sensation from their pursuit was deeply etched in his memory. He decided to fully merge with the world, staying still, constantly changing his position instead. In this way, the key would be their understanding of the Tao of Heaven. The deeper one's comprehension, the longer they could merge with the flow of time and space. Once his pursuer emerged from the merge with the world, Wang Lin would naturally regain the initiative, keeping his position hidden. Having previously experienced the body merging technique with Yin Lei Zi, where both his primordial spirit and physical body had been continuously integrated with the world, Wang Lin gritted his teeth and forcibly maintained his presence in the world. Time passed slowly, and though Yao Bingyun had a deep understanding of the world, it wasn't as extensive as Wang Lin's experience. On the 16th day, she could no longer bear it and appeared in physical form. The moment her body materialized, her divine sense locked onto Wang Lin's position, which had been vaguely fixed in the world through her merging technique. But to her surprise, Wang Lin had vanished without a trace. With a calm expression, Yao Bingyun snapped her jade hand on her storage pouch, and a small mirror appeared in her hand. She performed a hand seal as if predicting the future, holding the mirror for a moment before once again merging with the world. By the ruins of a deserted cultivation star at the border between the Luotian western region and the northern domain, Wang Lin's figure suddenly appeared. His complexion had turned pale, for he had been injured earlier, and after escaping from over 10 pursuers, the prolonged merging with the world had worsened his wounds. When he confirmed that he had completely shaken off his pursuers, he let out a sigh of relief. The Yu family must have already begun their actions. From now on, every step will be more difficult. Wang Lin muttered, and his body swiftly moved toward the abandoned cultivation star. This star was devoid of spiritual energy, its surface covered with ruins, suggesting that it had once been prosperous many years ago. Wang Lin found a basin within the cultivation star, sat cross-legged, and slapped his storage pouch. The soul banner immediately flew out, transforming into a black mist that spread around him. He also cast a series of sealing techniques before closing his eyes to regulate his breathing. Behind him, the phantom of Pagoda Mountain appeared, sitting beside him. Pagoda Mountain's right arm was completely shattered, and his body was covered with numerous wounds, looking slightly wilted. Wang Lin knew time was pressing. He had to heal quickly to maintain his peak condition, only then would there be a chance of survival. As he regulated his breathing, Wang Lin raised his right hand and grabbed the black mist formed by the soul banner. A yin deficiency spirit was seized, and before the spirit could beg for mercy, Wang Lin crushed it, swallowing its essence in one go. Moments later, his eyes flashed again, and he grabbed another primordial spirit, swallowing it as well. After 6 hours of continuous cultivation, he had absorbed 4 primordial spirits. A mighty force of primordial energy emanated from his body. He suddenly opened his eyes, the cold light in his gaze flashing with killing intent. With a motion of his right hand, several storage pouches appeared in his grasp. These storage pouches belonged to the 28 people he had killed earlier. Without hesitation, Wang Lin erased their seals, retrieved all their treasures, and crushed them, turning them into liquid that was absorbed into Pagoda Mountain's body. These pouches contained a variety of magic tools, all of which Wang Lin crushed and used to repair Pagoda Mountain's injuries. 2 days later, Pagoda Mountain's bones had mostly recovered. Although still slightly weak, he was no longer in grave condition. A murderous glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. He shot into the air, with Pagoda Mountain following closely behind, blending into Wang Lin's shadow. As Wang Lin soared, he grasped the air, and black mist gathered, forming a Xun'er banner. With a shake of his hand, he stored it back into his pouch. At that moment, outside the cultivation star where Wang Lin was healing, the figure of Yao Bingyun appeared. Her expression was icy as she flipped the small mirror in her hand. The image reflected in the mirror showed Wang Lin leaping from the ground. Her expression remained cold as she raised her jade finger, preparing to press the mirror. But just as her finger touched the surface, the mirror shattered first, collapsing with a resounding bang. A murderous aura surged out from the cultivation star, and at its center was Wang Lin. He resembled a sharp sword drawn from its sheath, charging forward at full speed. Surrounding him were countless purple lightning orbs that crackled with thunder, propelling Wang Lin even faster. In the blink of an eye, he had pierced through the cultivation star and was heading straight toward Yao Bingyun. Yao Bingyun's expression remained calm as she coldly watched Wang Lin rushing toward her. She raised her jade hand and pointed forward. Instantly, a blue ice crystal formed at her fingertip, releasing wisps of frosty energy. "I shatter," Yao Bingyun murmured. With a flick of her finger, the coldness rapidly spread in all directions. A series of cracking sounds echoed, and the vast starry void before her seemed to freeze in an instant, quickly spreading outward. Wang Lin's pupils constricted, but he did not retreat. His body erupted with lightning orbs that surged forward, howling toward the incoming ice storm, crashing into it. At that moment, a shadow flickered behind Wang Lin, and Pagoda Mountain stepped forward, his unscathed left fist landing powerfully against the ice, shattering it upon impact. Simultaneously, Wang Lin raised his right hand, and the wind-summoning art spread, forming a black gale that swept toward Yao Bingyun from an incredibly close distance. Wang Lin was ruthless toward his enemies, regardless of their gender. The black wind howled as it struck, causing the ice to shatter instantly into countless fragments. Pagoda Mountain's fist followed, rushing straight toward Yao Bingyun. Yao Bingyun's expression remained as cold as ever, without a hint of emotion. As Pagoda Mountain approached, she slightly parted her lips and softly uttered, "Blood collapse." Pagoda Mountain's body trembled, and blood spurted from him, quickly forming a blood mist around him. The punch never landed. Instead, a powerful force struck him back, forcing him to retreat and quickly return to Wang Lin's shadow. In that moment, Wang Lin felt a strange power gathering around him. It seemed to resonate with some force, causing his blood to surge and circulate faster, as if boiling and threatening to burst from his body. A flash of killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. He clenched his right fist, and the black wind instantly condensed into a black dragon. The dragon roared, sending a wave of dark wind toward Yao Bingyun. For the first time, Yao Bingyun's expression shifted. She fixed her gaze on the dark wind, and immediately formed a series of hand seals. At that moment, however, Wang Lin retreated, his figure blending into the void. She too could meld with the world's energy, and thus, their previous method of fighting was ineffective against her. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with determination. He knew he couldn't defeat this woman, so he decided to quickly escape. As he retreated, ripples appeared beneath his feet, and his figure disappeared. Yao Bingyun prepared to pursue, but the dark wind from the black dragon caught her off guard. Even as she merged with the world, she could not evade it. A chill spread across her face as she formed hand seals. A blue immortal essence core appeared before her hands, vibrant in color and emitting a dazzling glow. It moved to intercept the dark wind. With a series of cracking sounds, the wind dissipated, but the immortal essence core dimmed, losing its luster as if it had lost its vitality. Yao Bingyun's face darkened. She grabbed the blue core and stared toward the direction Wang Lin had vanished, quickly giving chase. Since her debut, she had never encountered such a difficult opponent. Despite her relentless pursuit, she still hadn't managed to catch him. Now, with a cold expression, she spread her divine sense into the world, searching for any traces of him. Wang Lin, having merged with the world's energy, made his way toward the northern Luo Heaven region. He had a grand plan in mind. Between the western and northern regions of Luo Heaven, there was a vast star river. Crossing it would lead him directly into the northern region. However, outside the star river, countless cultivators filled the area, nearly forming a solid mass, all heading toward the western Luo Heaven region. It wasn't just here. Across the entire western Luo Heaven region, a large number of cultivators had gathered. Aside from the Yao clan members, most of them were from other cultivation families allied with the Yao clan. Among them, cultivators native to the western Luo Heaven region made up the majority. These people were certain that Wang Lin was doomed. They weren't worried about retaliation, as the large-scale deployment was only for the Yao clan's generous reward. In reality, the number of actual Yao clan members was relatively small. These cultivators densely surrounded all escape routes, constantly disrupting the surrounding celestial forces, ensuring that no one could pass through. Wang Lin's figure emerged far beyond the Star River's border. His face was grim, and the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Ahead, he could feel powerful waves of energy emanating from the gathered cultivators. With so many cultivators disrupting the world's forces, even merging with the world's energy wouldn't guarantee safe passage. If forced into a visible form halfway through, surrounded by so many cultivators attacking him, Wang Lin was certain that his death was inevitable. Yao family. Wang Lin gritted his teeth, turned, and with a swift movement, disappeared. At that moment, several divine senses suddenly swept in from the distance, one of which immediately interfered with the surrounding world's power without hesitation. Soon after, loud howls echoed from afar, and a large number of cultivators charged forward frantically. With the interference of the world's power, Wang Lin's body swayed and appeared 1,000 feet away. His expression darkened as he quickly retreated. Sumu, he's here. Sumu is here. Kill him. Sumu. That's Sumu. The shouts came from all directions. Cultivators in various outfits rushed forward, but the absurd thing was that none of them were from the Yao family. The real Yao clan members were at the back, coldly watching the scene unfold. It was hard to say who was more clever. The Yao clan members thought that using matters of interest to recruit help from other cultivation families would save a lot of effort. From the perspective of those cultivation families, it made sense too. With so many cultivation families involved, Sumu was certain to die. As long as they participated in the battle, they would get rewards, and if they killed Sumu, even greater rewards awaited. So, why not act? Wang Lin continued to retreat, waves rippling beneath his feet, creating large disturbances. His gaze was cold, filled with murderous intent, as he scanned each cultivator chasing him, deeply engraving their images in his mind. In the instant when various divine abilities and magical treasures were attacking him, Wang Lin took a step and vanished from the spot, merging into the surrounding world. Despite the distortion of the world's power ahead, Wang Lin didn't move forward. Instead, he retreated, avoiding too much interference. Yao family, since you've taken such actions, if I don't properly take revenge, I'll be no different from a rebellious cultivator. And those cultivation families helping the Yao clan, if not for the siege of these well-rewarded attackers, the Yao clan alone wouldn't be able to form such an encirclement. Wang Lin sneered as he vanished from sight. The cultivators charging forward saw Wang Lin's expression and immediately felt a chill. This expression, this intense murderous intent, could only mean one thing. Wang Lin was about to unleash a killing spree. Since you like to block me, then come. Wang Lin merged with the world and quickly retreated. During this process, Yu Bingyun's aura immediately locked onto him. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and without hesitation, his figure flickered and appeared in a part of the sky in the western region of Luo Tian. Before him was a cultivation star. Wang Lin didn't know the name of this cultivation star, but as soon as he appeared, he stepped forward and reached the star in an instant. Scanning the area with his divine sense, he realized there were no cultivators above the great completion stage here. This was a clear signal. With the energy levels of this cultivation star, There should definitely be cultivators above Yin deficiency. These people had undoubtedly participated in the pursuit of him. In fact, Wang Lin's guess was spot on. If a large number of Yin deficiency cultivators were suddenly absent from this cultivation star, there was only one possible explanation. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with killing intent, and he rushed out. As long as he saw any cultivator above the infant metamorphosis stage on this star, he immediately struck without hesitation. Those involved in my conflict with the Yu family should beware of my revenge. If I don't drive away these cultivation families and force them to retreat, more and more of them will join the hunt against me. The only way to resolve this is to intimidate them. And the most effective intimidation is a star slaughter. Wang Lin's eyes glowed with murderous intent. He was never a benevolent person, and now, with the Yao family and these cultivation families pushing him into a corner, with his range of movement shrinking under the siege of so many cultivators, he had no choice but to act ruthlessly. If he didn't, he'd be waiting for his death. What made Wang Lin even more anxious was the powerful experts from the Yu family and other cultivation families. Those who had entered the pure nirvana stage, these formidable cultivators, could arrive at any moment. Even just one of them would be enough to crush Wang Lin. Donglin's star in the Luotian star domain had a fearsome reputation. Whenever people mentioned it, they would tremble, too afraid to provoke it, because every time the successor of Donglin's star appeared, anyone who dared to provoke them would face a star slaughter. At the cost of bloodshed, they would make everyone remember. Wang Lin didn't want to do this, but now he had no choice. He was forced into a corner, and this was the only way to make the majority of those cultivation families, lured by the heavy rewards, retreat. There was no sorrowful cry. Wang Lin seemed to turn into a whirlwind of death, sweeping across the cultivation star. In less than the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, he vanished, merging into the world, disappearing without a trace. Only this blood-soaked cultivation star remained, with not a single cultivator above the infant metamorphosis realm left. As for the mortals, Wang Lin did not harm a single one. Even those cultivators below the soul formation stage, Wang Lin knew they were not involved enough to be dragged into this matter, so he did not take action against them. Before leaving, he raised his right hand and pressed it toward the void above the land. After a violent tremor, two large characters appeared on the ground. Sumu. After Wang Lin left, the void ripples immediately spread out. Yao Bingyun stepped out and saw everything on this cultivation star at a glance. Her expression darkened, and murderous intent flickered in her eyes. With a flash, she continued to pursue. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. He kept appearing within the Luotian western region, and each time he appeared, there would be a cultivation star nearby. If it was a star occupied by Yin deficiency cultivators, he would turn and leave. But if it was one of those stars that had no Yin deficiency cultivators and had clearly participated in the pursuit to kill him, then a bloody star massacre would begin. You forced me into this. No grievances or enmity, yet you reward the Yao family to hunt me down. This is the cause. My slaughter of stars is the effect. The cause and effect of your actions shall lead you into the cycle of reincarnation. Wang Lin did not enjoy killing, but under such pressure, he had no choice. In just 30 short days, a bloody storm swept across the entire Luotian western region. A shocking, world-shattering event, one that made all cultivators furious, yet also filled them with fear, spread like wildfire. More than dozens of cultivation stars had their cultivators above the infant metamorphosis realm slaughtered, rivers of blood flowing, leaving only the two characters Sumu deeply etched into the earth. This was naked revenge, a thorough retaliation against all the cultivators involved in the hunt. Such actions were those of the Demon Path, and the title Demon Path Scion was soon whispered by some unknown person, landing on Wang Lin's head. Those who participate in my conflict with the Yu family will pay the price. The fact that he did not kill any cultivators below the infant metamorphosis realm left a glimmer of hope, but the bloody implication was clear without saying a word. Anyone who continues to participate in this matter will be killed, even if they are below the infant metamorphosis realm. Countless storms of fury exploded immediately. The cultivators from the slaughtered cultivation clans seemed mad, with no hesitation. They swore to avenge Sumu. However, more cultivation clans hesitated, especially the ones local to the Luotian western region. It was unclear who started it, but they quietly left and quickly returned to their respective cultivation stars. The blockade of the Luotian western region weakened, and many cultivation clans, after much deliberation, slowly retreated. After all, for the sake of some benefit for the Yao family, leading to the annihilation of their own clan's younger disciples was beyond their limits. Moreover, Wang Lin's methods sent a chill deep into the hearts of these Luo Tian cultivators, whose families centered around clan interests. They could feel Wang Lin's madness and knew that if this continued, they couldn't predict what kind of things he might do next. Outside the Luo Tian Western region, cultivators from the other 3 domains also hesitated, but few left. After all, their cultivation stars were not in this region, and Su Mu was as good as dead. His struggles were nothing more than a final gasp before death. No matter how wildly he struggled, he could only stay in the Luo Tian Western region. He couldn't escape, so there was no chance of retaliation. That said, Wang Lin could still feel the pressure from the blockade line within the Luo Tian Western region was weakening significantly. However, during these days, the woman who could blend into the world was getting closer and closer, and a few times, she nearly caught up with him. Wang Lin furrowed his brows. Her pursuit was too tight, and the range in the Luo Tian Western region where he could move was rapidly shrinking. If he didn't find a way to break through soon, it would be dangerous. In the starry sky, Wang Lin's figure materialized. His brows furrowed, and the murderous intent in his eyes, after all these days, had become thick enough to feel almost tangible. That woman chasing me has at least reached the mid-glimpse of Nirvana stage. I can't kill her with my current strength, but she's troublesome. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and his body swayed as he disappeared from his position. As soon as he vanished, Yu Bingyun stepped into the void. With a murderous aura on her face, she looked ahead with phoenix-like eyes and coldly said, "You can't escape." With a single step, she merged into the world and continued her pursuit. This time, when Wang Lin merged into the world, he held the firm thought that he must evade Yu Bingyun. With her chasing behind, he couldn't leave. By relying on the long-term method of merging into the world, which harmed his own body, Wang Lin finally made Yu Bingyun's lock-on ineffective. However, this consumed 3 days of time. During these 3 days, the blockade line formed by the cultivators of the Luo Tian Western region shrank tighter and tighter, as if closing in on him like a tightening circle. A dense surge of killing intent coalesced within the blockade. It was so intense that it nearly turned into a storm, causing vast swathes of stardust to swirl and reverse across the starry sky. Temporarily shaking off Yu Bingyun's lock-on, Wang Lin's figure flickered and reappeared beside an abandoned cultivation star devoid of any signs of life. He gave the desolate star a careful glance. A sharp gleam flashed in his eyes as he muttered to himself, "This one will do." Wang Lin knew time was of the essence. The woman pursuing him not only had the ability to merge with the world itself, but likely also possessed some method akin to divination to deduce his location. Given that, he had to seize this fleeting window. Forming hand seals with both hands, waves of primordial energy surged outward, transforming into countless imprints that shot toward the lifeless cultivation star. Each imprint landed on the star and vanished in a flash. Without pause, Wang Lin circled around it, leaving mark after mark as he moved. An hour later, his face had grown somewhat pale. With a single step, he entered the cultivation star. The surface was littered with ruins, riddled with cracks. Rivers and seas had long dried up, leaving behind only a thick aura of death. Upon landing, Wang Lin immediately slapped his storage pouch, and the soul banner appeared in his hand. With a shake, it turned into a swirling black mist that blanketed the sky. Within the mist, the soul of the blood ancestor sat with eyes closed, his entire body shrouded in countless seals. Around him swirled innumerable soul essences trapped within the soul banner. Without hesitation, Wang Lin reached out and grabbed the Yin deficiency spirit. Crushing it, he raised his left hand and pressed out an imprint. At once, the Yin deficiency spirit, now transformed into primordial energy, trembled. A terrifying cold gleam lit its eyes. With a toss, Wang Lin sent it burrowing into the ground, where it vanished from sight. Panting slightly, Wang Lin recalled that before Li Yuan left, he had passed down the complete annihilation seal technique to him. Although Wang Lin hadn't inherited the core annihilation heart seal and couldn't unleash the technique's full power, some seals could still be used independently. The soul-crushing ninefold array was one of them. Indeed, it was one of the 3 forbidden techniques Li Yuan had passed on to him. This array did not require the annihilation heart seal, but it did demand a massive number of essence spirits. Li Yuan himself had never deployed it, as the prerequisites were too harsh. Wang Lin's face grew paler, but he did not stop. He continued pulling essence spirits from the soul banner. Yin deficiency spirits were few in number, most had already been devoured by him, so he switched to using questioning peak spirits, imprinting each one and burying them in the ground. After several more hours, Wang Lin was visibly wan. His eyes flickered as they locked onto the blood ancestor's essence spirit. After a brief hesitation, a look of resolve formed. He raised his right hand, extracted it, left an imprint on its brow center, and returned it to the swirling black mist of the soul banner. Drawing in a deep breath, Wang Lin didn't hesitate. He sank into the ground, descending into the core of the cultivation star. There, he suppressed all traces of his presence and invoked the concealment technique Li Yuan had once taught him. This concealment seal was exceedingly mysterious. Back then, Li Yuan had used it without Wang Lin detecting even the slightest disturbance. However, without the Annihilation Heart seal to perfect it, there was still a risk of being discovered. This was why he hadn't used the technique earlier, when he was surrounded. Now, buried deep in the star's core, Wang Lin sat cross-legged, eyes flashing with murderous light. He muttered coldly, "The Yu family, and all those cultivation clans hunting me. Wang has prepared a generous gift for you. What comes next is merely the prelude." A chilling smile crept across his face as he closed his eyes, vanishing completely into the lifeless stillness of the star, blending with it as one. Time passed slowly. 3 days later, the blockade set up by cultivators of the western region of Luotian tightened further. Outside the hidden cultivation star, the first wave of cultivators arrived. At their head was a woman, Yao Changdong. Her expression was icy cold as she formed seals with her right hand, seemingly deducing something. Her gaze landed on the cultivation star where Wang Lin lay hidden, and her eyes gleamed sharply as she spoke in a frosty tone. "Sumu is here." Behind her stood 2 other Yao clan members, a man and a woman clad in luxurious robes. They appeared calm and composed. The man chuckled lightly. Seems he knew he couldn't escape and laid down some kind of formation here. As he spoke, the young man stepped forward, heading directly toward the cultivation star. Yao Bingyun frowned slightly but followed. Behind them, the cultivators from the allied cultivation clans also surged forward in unison. Yet despite their momentum, none, including the young man, actually stepped onto the star. They all halted just outside its atmosphere. "Fellow Taoists," the young man from the Yao family said with a smile, raising his voice, "I ask that you assist our Yao family in destroying this cultivation star. Whatever trick Sumu has up his sleeve, let him be buried with it in the star's collapse." The surrounding cultivation clan cultivators responded in unison without hesitation, swiftly unleashing their divine abilities in a fierce assault upon the cultivation star. In an instant, countless primordial power divine abilities roared forth, slamming into the abandoned cultivation star. Explosions echoed through the heavens and earth as the star quaked violently, with massive chunks of rock breaking away as if the entire star were on the verge of collapse. Yao Bingyun frowned. After days of tracking Wang Lin, she knew well how cunning he was. There was no way he would leave such an obvious vulnerability. As the cultivation star continued to fall apart under the relentless attacks, boulders scattered in all directions, and deep cracks spread like ravines across the surface. The moment a young member of the Yao family charged forward and activated the Yao family immortal art, the disintegration of the star accelerated dramatically. Waves of intense fluctuation surged outward. In the distance, sword lights howled through the sky, the arrival of another wave of cultivators from the blockade line. Without asking a single question or exchanging a word, they immediately joined the assault on the ruined star. Yao Bingyun's frown deepened. Something felt off, deeply wrong, but she couldn't quite place why. The unending barrage of divine techniques shattered more and more of the cultivation star. Debris filled the surroundings, turning the area into a sea of drifting rubble. Finally, with a thunderous boom that seemed to shake the world, a dense ripple of force erupted outward. The cultivation star collapsed entirely. This collapse was infused with annihilating power. Everything within it perished instantly. The fragments burst outward with destructive force. The star's implosion distorted the surrounding world energy, sending out a death-laden shockwave. As the deafening sound reverberated, countless rainbows of light streaked in from afar. Yet another wave of cultivators from the blockade had arrived. Yao Bingyun's unease surged. She instinctively scanned the surroundings. Fragmented rocks floated all around, filling a radius of 10,000 feet and enclosing nearly all the cultivators. Something's wrong. Yao Bingyun's eyes narrowed sharply, just as she was about to shout a warning. At that moment, on the farthest fragment, a sudden flash of violet lightning burst forth, arcing instantly to a nearby shard. It didn't stop. In the blink of an eye, lightning crackled across every floating fragment. In an instant, the countless shards within the 10,000-foot radius became interconnected by streaks of lightning. Crackling sounds echoed in waves. Within that vast radius, a lightning barrier took shape, swiftly and impossibly precise, forming the moment the surrounding cultivators began to react. Simultaneously, one of the fragments radiated an aura of Yin deficiency cultivation. In that instant, it exploded. The blast mirrored a Yin deficiency cultivator's self-destruction, releasing a massive shockwave. Every cultivator nearby who was weaker than Yin deficiency was gravely injured. Two even vomited blood and lost all light in their eyes. That single shard's explosion was only the beginning. One after another, the fragments began to detonate. In moments, all of them within the 10,000-foot radius erupted in a chain reaction of devastation. Roars and cries of rage filled the air as the trapped cultivators activated their divine abilities, trying to flee through the storm. But the wave of explosions came in relentless succession, their forces merging together into a ferocious tempest. Anyone who perished had their essence spirit instantly consumed and detonated, becoming part of the storm itself. Yet among those pursuing Wang Lin and the Yao clan members, many were Yin deficiency or Yang fulfillment cultivators. After an initial wave of chaos, they regrouped and launched a fierce counterattack. Especially under Yao Bingyun's lead, each strike she unleashed seemed to shatter a swath of explosive energy. It was as if the storm within the 10,000-foot radius had begun to collapse inward, but halfway through, it lost momentum. Pressured by the cultivator's resistance, it began to expand outward once more. For a time, thunderous booms echoed across the battlefield. Then, in that instant, a silent black mist spread through the area. Piercing shrieks rang out wildly. From within the black mist, the essence spirit of the blood ancestor slowly took form. At the moment of his emergence, a chilling voice echoed out. Detonate. The sound came from a piece of shattered stone, the only one that hadn't collapsed within a 10,000 zhang radius. As the sound echoed, the soul essence of the blood ancestor within the black mist suddenly emitted a rich blood-colored light, shattering. A ripple spread outward in a frenzy as the collapse occurred. Any cultivator who came into contact with this ripple, unless possessing exceptionally high cultivation, would immediately perish. A Yin deficiency cultivator from a cultivation family in the northern Luo heaven region widened his eyes in horror. He was very close to the blood ancestor's soul essence. At that moment, under its collapse, he let out a tragic groan as his body disintegrated. Even his soul essence couldn't escape. Everything vanished. Beside him, another cultivator from the southern Luo heaven domain, startled, tried to flee but was instantly stiffened by the ripple. With a loud bang, his body shattered into blood mist. In an instant, countless lives were lost within the 10,000 zhang radius. Wang Lin appeared at the outer edge of the area. He reached out with his right hand, and the black mist immediately condensed into his grasp, transforming into a soul banner, which he tucked into his storage pouch. His figure flickered, heading forward. However, just as he was about to vanish, Yao Bingyun closed the distance in a single step and pointed her jade finger viciously at the void. Her phoenix eyes gleamed with murderous intent. This strike, though aimed at the void, was deadly. She had prepared this strike for a long time, waiting for the moment when Wang Lin revealed himself. Confident that this strike would certainly end Su Mu's life, her attack contained a powerful immortal art, the Soul Destruction Seal, designed to harm the soul essence. With mere young fulfillment cultivation, under the Soul Destruction Seal, there's no chance of survival. Wang Lin trembled. Forced out of his 100 zhang radius, he spat a mouthful of fresh blood, his face turning ashen, as if already dead. Yet, his body showed no sign of stopping. Without looking back, he merged into the void again and fled at top speed. He's not dead. Yao Bingyun froze for a moment, her eyes flashing with a sharp light. She charged forward, continuing her pursuit. The self-destruction of the blood ancestor's soul essence within the 10,000 zhang radius led to massive casualties among the cultivators hunting Wang Lin. No one could have predicted that Su Mu would have such a trump card. Especially within that radius, several members of the Yao family also perished. As the ripples dissipated, blood mist filled the air. This time, the number of deaths was staggering. Yet, these were just a small fraction of the forces chasing Wang Lin. From afar, bright rainbows streaked through the sky as more cultivators entered the western region of Luotian. As they gathered, the 10,000 zhang massacre shook their minds, and their murderous intent toward Wang Lin intensified. We cannot let Su Mu escape. If he takes revenge, it will be a catastrophe. Now is no longer just a battle between Su Mu and the Yao family. It's a battle against the demon path. Only by killing this demon path scion, Su Mu, can we feel at ease. Chase him. The new arrivals surged forward, chasing Wang Lin. Among them, the Yao clan members' eyes burned with fury as they quickly pursued him. The battle within the 10,000 zhang formation had claimed countless lives. Sumu's name immediately spread like wildfire throughout the Luotian star domain. Even some high-level experts shifted their focus to the conflict between the Yu family and Sumu. With his lone strength, Sumu not only survived the relentless pursuit of numerous cultivation families in the Yao family but also killed several of them, earning the title of Demon Path Scion. Using the power of strange formations, he slaughtered countless cultivators, shaking all those chasing him to their core. This even caused some cultivation families to tremble in fear, retreating from the pursuit. This act made Sumu a rising star within the Luotian star domain. News of the battles between Sumu and the Yao family in the western region of Luotian spread quickly among the cultivators, spreading Sumu's name far and wide. In the Thunder Immortal Palace, atop the Cloud Pavilion, immortal monarch Qishui opened his eyes from meditation and gazed into the distance, murmuring, "This child has quite the style I had in my youth." "Very good,"